about that Batfleck script and the fact that Matt Reeves actually read it. And he talked about it right here. So this is coming from Esquire Middle East right here. All right, so this is what he talks about. He talks about getting the gig, and then he talks about reading the script. So, yeah, when it came to Matt Reeves, he was dodging calls, apparently, from Warner Brothers for weeks. He was smack in the middle of 5 to 6 months of intense post for war of the Planet of the Apes. The most ambitious film of his career at that point. Now, obviously, yeah. He was huddled with a team of animators in the Weta Digital, zoomed in 400% into blah, 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 doing all that. And he said, so that meeting with Warner Brothers, that Warner Brothers wants to have, it's not a general meeting, his agent opened with. It's about Batman. Reeves excused himself from the animation desk. Batman. Okay, Matt Reeves, blah, blah, blah. Costume, blah, blah, blah. We've already heard all that. When it comes to comic books, yes. I always felt that Batman was a very special story. Talks about all that, and then, of course, we get that. Fortunately for him, the Batman script that Warner Brothers was Pulse calling him about wasn't the take he envisioned. The script they sent over, Ben Affleck had written for himself to star in, a film he originally intended to direct before deciding to step back. I read a script that they had that was a totally valid take on the movie. It was very action-driven. Very action-driven, in which, of course, hearing from Joe Mang and anybody else, I think it was just mainly Joe Mang. I talked about that, the final battle. It was very deeply connected to the DCEU. Oh, he dropped the DCEU acronym right there. With other major characters from other movies and other comics popping up. I just knew that when I read it, this particular script was not the way I'd want to do it. So, are we ever going to find that out? Because he's talking about with other major characters from other movies and other comics popping up. So I wonder which characters from the other movies were showing up. Wonder Woman? Aquaman? Superman? Who knows? And then, of course, from other comics popping up. So obviously we knew Batgirl was going to be involved, but what other character in the Bat universe was going to show up too? Probably Joker. I would imagine there was going to be some kind of Joker in there. Leto, maybe. I don't know. So that's interesting. Kind of hurts. It does when you hear that. When you hear deeply connected to the DCU and all that stuff. Yes, kind of hurts. And then, even as the countdown clock was on him for Apes, he decided to go to Warner Brothers in person to respectfully tell them no. I said, look, I think maybe I'm not the person for this. And I explained to them why I love this character. I told them that there have been so many great movies, but if I were to do this, I'd have to make it personal. So I understand that I was going to what I was going to do with it so that I know where to put the camera and that I know what to tell the actors so that I know what the story should be. This take, I told them, pointing to the script, is totally valid and exciting take. And it is almost James Bondian. Woo! So it's got a little bit of James Bondian, as he puts it. That's pretty interesting. But it wasn't something that I quite related to, which makes sense. So what I'd love to do, if you're interested, is I'd like to get involved and find a way to take the story and make it a very, very personal, very personal and get to the place I want it to be and make it a Batman story and give him the arc and have the story rock him to his core. It wasn't going to be another origin story, not with Ben already in the character, but that's what I would do. Before they got too excited, he dropped the kicker, intended to scare them away for good. I said, but here's the other thing. This is why I think you're not going to want me to direct this movie. I can't even tell you what that story is for months because I have to finish this Apes movie. And to my utter shock and surprise, they said, you know what? We really would like you to do this. And we will wait. Wow. All that. We had no idea what was going on, said Dylan Clark. Ben is a friend of mine, and I love Ben, but I didn't know exactly about those things were, I didn't know exactly what we're, talking about the things that were happening in his personal life. We didn't find out until much later. Affleck stepped away entirely, leaving Reeves and Clark with a blank slate. Now, their version of the Batman and blah, blah, blah is going to be doing all that. So, there we go. And I'm sure there's going to be some angry fanboys out there that are going to be like, fuck you, Matt Reeves, which they're already doing, of course. Which is sad. What can he do, though? But yeah, that's interesting. So I'm wondering if we'll ever find out some of the details, more details, when it comes to characters that were going to be showing up in that Ben Affleck Batman script. Because it sounds like, I mean, it would just be, again, I know it's not the popular choice, but hey, if we could get that story put into its own graphic novel, hey, I would be okay with that. Okay, it just seems like I don't think Ben's going to do a full-on Batman movie, for sure. Sounds like if anything, he would just come back in a shorter kind of role. So, obviously, as what we've seen. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of curious of what would happen in there. I got to get, I don't know. I mean, we talked to Joe Mang. We know about the finishing part of that. The final battle, but I just kind of wondered, does somebody else show? I mean, who else would show up in that movie? Probably Barry. I would not be surprised if Barry was in the script, just because of their dynamic when it came to Justice League. So would not be surprised if Barry was in the movie in some form or whatever. Maybe Cyborg was also in there at one point. I don't know. Yeah, just very interesting. Hopefully we get those details soon. One day, maybe. One day we'll get that. So, but hey, Matt Reeves wanted to do something different, and he thought that okay, they're not going to talk to me after that, but they decided to wait for his idea and his everything. So, got to respect that. Just release. Yeah, here's a new campaign. Release the Batfleck script. At least, just do that. If it's not going to happen, release the script.